In the headlines, one women's rights advocate is none too pleased with the opinion of Prime Minister Alan Chasney, stating that teenage mothers play a major role in the island's crime issues. Woman Gil Francis admonishes St. Lucians for helping violence and crime to thrive through their acts of cowardice.
I'm telling St. Lucians, some of us are cowards. We have a lot of cowards in St. Lucia. All of us are just a lot of mouth, and we do nothing whatsoever.
And a united and strong representative addresses the international backlash the island has received over its anti-buggery laws.
This is the Hot 7 Nightly News with Lovely St. Amy Joseph.
Good evening. It is Thursday, the 9th of May 2019. Welcome to the Hot 7 Nightly News on Flow Channel 117, Kiss FM 105.5 and 105.9, as well as on our free mobile app. Just search for Caribbean Hot FM in the Play Store. I am Rochelle Gonzalez, standing in for Lovely St. Amy Joseph. Thank you for joining us. A recent statement made by Prime Minister Alan Chasney aligning single-parent households with the proliferation of violence on island has sparked major outrage from various gender equality advocacy groups. In particular, vocal president of Raise Your Voice St. Lucia, Catherine Seelys, says the PM's statements are unfounded and fails to isolate the real reasons for the increase in violent crimes. Solange Alfred begins our newscast.
Prime Minister Alan Chasney's recent comments have landed him in hot water. The PM's assertion that the reckless involvement of teenage girls with different men contributing to pregnancy and single-parent households has led to the collapse of family values and aligns with the increase in crime and violence. These comments have triggered the outrage of members of society who have branded the PM's statement as a racist stereotype of black women. Speaking in both a personal and professional capacity, President of Raise Your Voice and single mother of two, Catherine Seelys, says the Prime Minister's archaic thinking has led him to this conclusion. She says, rather than demonizing single parents, the Prime Minister should focus on building the channels that are in place to assist them.
I'm a single mother. I raised my two biological children and my adopted son. My adopted son is an engineer. My daughter is a customer service agent for an international airline, not in St. Lucia. And my son is an IT expert. And I want the Prime Minister to know, when he was at Carleton University in Canada, out of 1,700 children, he had a perfect GPA. And his father, who was a public servant, fell $200 to put at the family court. And I want to tell the Prime Minister I well understand his comment, because after 3 years he has not seen it fit to see that single parents need more than $200, which is equivalent to 78 US. If I go down the road and somebody asks me for help, they give me a sorry, I give them $200. And you know, we continue to give single mothers $200 at the family court.
The PM is quoted as saying, quote, "And so the question is what we as citizens of this country are prepared to do in order to be able to stop that from happening. The next one is that young kids are not being occupied, and the fact is that values that were normal in this country have diminished significantly." End quote. To which Seelys notes the employment opportunities present for single parents help in creating the atmosphere for children to be left unoccupied.
We continue to give single mothers a job at the hotel where she leaves her children at 5 and she comes back at 5 and she don't know what's happening. And 100 times when you get a rape case, it's a young woman coming out of the hotel at 11. But she has to do that because she has to feed her children. And I am I want to tell how angry I am, because the Prime Minister categorizes me as a single mother as breeders of criminals. And I want him to know my mother has 12 children. And we don't have any criminals in my family. I have a sister who has 12 children. All of them are law-abiding people with good jobs. And I don't know where he gets his statements from, but I want him to know I'm very angry. And at one time he was fashy. He don't know how fashy I am. I am waji.
The general consensus on the Prime Minister's statements remain torn, with members of society either being for and against the announcement. For Seelys' part, she continues to advocate for the development of a legislative framework to aid women at risk and victims of domestic abuse. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Solange Alfred.
National Security Minister Herman Gil Francis admonishes St. Lucians for their refusal to speak out against and expose known criminals. He says such acts of cowardice only serves to keep the scourge of violence and crime alive.
I'm telling St. Lucians, some of us are cowards. We have a lot of cowards in St. Lucia. All of us are just a lot of mouth. And we do nothing whatsoever. We know of criminals and we don't talk about it. We have persons in society talking them off all over the place. We know of the criminality that they've been involved with. And yet still we worship them. We worship them, we make them believe that they own St. Lucia, that they can attack the Prime Minister at any time, they can attack anybody who says anything about them. And we worship those persons. That is the thing that we as a St. Lucian society must stop. When we know whether you are a big man, you are a lawyer, you are a politician, you are a priest, if we know you're involved in criminality, we have to shun you.
This was the impassioned sentiment given by Minister with Responsibility for National Security, Herman Gill Francis, on the issue of civilians not playing their part in fighting crime. Francis said persons must realize that they can make a major difference if only they would speak up and expose known criminals rather than celebrate them. Francis implied that some of the persons in need of shunning might be more than just popular.
We exalt those persons. They go on platform and they say all sorts of things and we're happy and we expect things to change in St. Lucia. Cannot change.
When asked if his statement was in relation to a possible rift between himself and a well-known talk show host, Francis said, "Let the chips fall where they may."
I'm not speaking about anybody. If it suits that a particular individual, so be it. But that is what we do. We know. And yet still we have those individuals and we butter their feet and, oh man, this man is this and that woman is this and that woman. And at the end of the day, you know, what do you expect?
Earlier this week, the minister revealed plans to introduce a new system where persons would receive financial compensation for giving insider information on individuals in possession of illegal firearms. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I'm Rochelle Gonzalez. Incidents of brazen armed robberies, like the one caught on CCTV at the Seatown Chinese restaurant on Monday, is continuing to rise, and the April 15th murder of Joseph Stanislas Pistol at the Crossroads Minimart in Cedars shows that the perpetrators are not shy about resorting to extreme violence to get what they want. Our camera crew took to the streets to hear how members of the public feel about this.
The cause of this scheduled crime, it goes right back to the homes. We have lost our values in our homes. The home breeds neighborhood, neighborhood breeds society. And if it's wrong in our homes, we can't get society. Too many young men have no father figures in their lives, no role models to look up to. And that's why the young men are erratic and going astray. We need to have more male figures in the homes. They'll go back to the drawing boards, go back to the homes. That's the crux of the matter.
I believe that they should have the law like the Middle East. If they do a crime and they catch, you get the business owner get the opportunity on them, do what you have to do. Because a thief is come to kill and to destroy. I think the law should be revised right now in St. Lucia. Because like the criminals have more rights. That's all I have to say. Something has to be done to the criminals.
The last 20-25 years, children have decided to grow up and make children. And after they make children, they don't grow up to be adults. Now, they don't take responsibility as adults, so children cannot correct children, children cannot raise children, and that's our main problem. And like Jugbois said, the BRK1, everything they see America do, they want to do it, so they just don't grow up, so they don't raise their children properly.
Well, to be honest, they're hungry and they're desperate. That's why those things happening. When you're hungry and you're desperate, you're starting to listen to negative voices, and sometimes you try to put something down. You take work, you do some stupid work. Nobody never employ you, it's Satan work. They're hungry and they're desperate.
This people that is committing crimes in this country, my brother, you know that the Bible spoke about that wickedness. The imagination of man, when a man think of evil, is crime they will commit. St. Lucian have no peace no more. The only thing we have to do is prayer, you know. Prayer is the food of the spirit, and it is the only one that can control the imagination of a man today. Prayer, I can tell you, that's the key. And if a man stay without prayer, your life will not be at peace at no time. Crime will continue until the end of the world.
That crime is the young girls that following their grandmother and their mother and they're making children, is them children that committing crime. That's what I say. So if you could lock them up, you lock them up.
International backlash following a visit to St. Lucia by gay contestants of dating show Blind Date UK, who were informed on arrival of the island's strict anti-buggery laws, have incited a response from the local LGBTQI group on island, United and Strong. Public Relations Officer for United and Strong, Jessica St. Rose, says the island's strong dependency on tourism will continue to greatly weaken as a result of the archaic law. Solange Alfred tells us more.
Complaints made by two bisexual contestants of a popular UK dating show, Blind Date, has ignited the conversation once more about St. Lucia's anti-buggery laws. The contestants were left with a sour taste in their mouth on arrival to the island, where they were informed that homosexual activity is illegal. Communication and Advocacy Officer, United and Strong, Jessica St. Rose, said the negative ripple effect of St. Lucia's archaic law has once again reared its ugly head and will severely damage the island's reputation as an all-inclusive destination.
On the organization standpoint, we see that how much of a plight that we face as LGBT persons in St. Lucia. Also, on an island of St. Lucia, which is heavily dependent on tourism, we also see how this adversely affects St. Lucia when it comes to LGBT tourism and also tourism on a whole. We see how these laws can create damage to St. Lucia and also to tourists wanting to come into the island. So therefore, we understand that the persons coming to St. Lucia were heavily disappointed to the fact that knowing that you're coming to celebrate, have a good time and vacation in St. Lucia where they probably were not feeling comfortable. So, and this is why, again, at United and Strong, we advocate for the changes to happen and for policy changes to take place, that persons can come to a country to feel comfortable and to have a vacation knowing that they are safe.
St. Rose urged policymakers to use what she described as an unfortunate situation as a catalyst to enact change within the laws of the land.
We continue to see how this affects the LGBT community in St. Lucia, where persons itself in St. Lucia are not safe, don't feel safe, and not comfortable living in a country where the laws discriminate against them, and also where they don't have access to resources that will protect them. So we see that yes, it is affecting tourism in St. Lucia, because we want to, as a country, I'm sure that we want to embrace everyone. And while we do embrace everyone, there are also avenues where persons may want to come to St. Lucia, but may often be afraid at the fact that if something happens to them, they may not necessarily get the protection that they need. So yes, it affects us locally, regionally, and internationally. And we're very sorry that this had to happen to the couple who came to St. Lucia under those circumstances. And hopefully the government will see that there is an interest and there's a call for LGBT persons wanting to come to St. Lucia. And while we're open to that, yes, I do believe that the country is open to inviting everyone to come to St. Lucia and vacate, because we're heavily dependent on tourism. However, we also want persons to come to the country and feel protected and feel safe.
The brunt of the backlash fell on UK Channel 5, where fans of the show criticized the station for not doing their homework by sending the couple to a location where they could have been potentially imprisoned for 10 years for engaging in homosexual activity. Despite this, St. Rose says the island too will suffer from a reputation of being an anti-gay destination. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Solange Alfred.
This is the Hot 7 Nightly News. Still to come, Minister Sarah Flood Brobre is asked to keep her anti-homosexual views to herself as they stand to negatively affect the island's image. And United and Strong receives a grant which will allow the organization to bolster the framework put in place to help the vulnerable.